let's do a quick chat, guys, about Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, which we've just finished. We managed to make it to the very end of the game, so we played through in this order. I don't think it was the correct order, but honestly, I don't think it's that big of a deal for the most part. It seems like there is a chronological order which Tetsuya Nomura intended for people to play through, but we have just played through Ventus, then we played through Terra, then we played through Aqua. We went back and got a couple of extra reports, and then finished the final act as well as Aqua, and saw the final kind of true ending. So, first of all, did I enjoy Birth by Sleep? I think I did. Yes, I think I did, yeah. Kingdom Hearts is such an interesting franchise that I'm not going to get into. If you guys are here watching this VOD, hopefully you are part of the community, or if you're a new viewer, then first of all, welcome. Our history with Kingdom Hearts is Kingdom Hearts 1, Chain of Memories, and Kingdom Hearts 2, and now we're finally getting on to Birth by Sleep. As far as the franchise goes thus far, Birth by Sleep was pretty good, okay? It was pretty good. It's not on the same caliber as Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, in my opinion, but that's for obvious reasons. I'm going to talk about all the stuff I liked, and then if there was anything that I disliked that I can think of on the spot, we'll mention briefly. But for the most part, there's a couple of things we have to acknowledge before we give this a full kind of review. This will be a very short video for the most part, because I don't think I've got much to say on it, but I will give you guys my kind of impromptu tidbits of thoughts, right? So, obviously, the most important thing to know about Birth by Sleep is this game was made for the PSP, not for the standard kind of consoles, not for the PS2 or whatever, for like as a regular Kingdom Hearts game would be. So it was kind of like one of these kind of spin-off titles. It's obviously canon to the lore, I fully understand that, but it came as a kind of prequel for the handheld console. So as a result, I feel like naturally the game is not going to have as much... it's not going to be as long, and it's not going to be as high quality as the mainline installments. So, for example, Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3, right? I'm not saying that some people can't enjoy this more than those, right? I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying when a game is made as a spin-off for a handheld console, whether it be the PSP, the Vita, or whatever, sometimes, obviously, I feel like because of the power of the console, there's less that they can achieve. With all that being said, I did feel like I enjoyed Birth by Sleep. It's not the best game I've ever played in my life, and if you're a Kingdom Hearts fan, you'll know what I mean. This game was good for what it was. It was pretty good, and I enjoyed playing it. So the thing that I enjoyed the most about this game is not necessarily the characters or the music, although those were okay, and we'll get into that in a minute. I feel like the best thing that I really enjoyed about this game is the actual hack and slash gameplay that you have, and the spell weaving that you can do. So when you find Fyra and you combine it with Fyra, you can make Fyraga, which upgrades. And in addition to that, if you attach extra crystals to them, fleeting crystals, astounding crystals, and all these other parts, you can gain passives as you level. Now, obviously, as you play through the different characters, this will be reset when you go back to the start again and play through as the other characters, but that didn't really bother me. I really enjoyed the fusion of spells in this game and using those spells. As you can see here, across all of our characters, we defeated 3,000 monsters, almost 3,500, so it's it's no surprise that for a game like this to succeed, its battle mechanics need to be fun, and I feel like it done well. I kind of wish that Birth by Sleep and its mechanics might have made more of an impact on the later games, but again, I haven't gotten to Kingdom Hearts 3 yet, so maybe we'll see, who knows. The characters themselves were fine enough. I felt like my favourite character out of the three was Aqua, although I will say right now that my favourite character to play was actually Terra. We played Ventus first, and I feel like because I learned most of the game... yeah, did I say that? Because we learned most of the game as Ventus, I feel like I enjoyed him the least. When I went on to Terra and then eventually onto Aqua, I felt like I was actually getting things down to a T, and I was starting to learn the game a bit better, and everything started to flow naturally. I had one problem with Ventus as I was playing through, where I was a bit under-leveled as we got to the later parts of his playthrough. We also did the entirety of Ventus's playthrough in one stream, which was probably not a good idea. We were just playing on standard mode, so I was happy enough with that. But when we got to Captain Hook in Neverland, and then eventually onto the final bosses, it proved quite awkward with Ventus and almost frustrating at times. But when I played through as Terra and then Aqua, I fixed that mistake, and I made sure that we had stronger spells going into the final bosses, and I made sure that we were a little stronger. So when I fought against the final bosses Ventus, I was 30, level 30, and then when I fought the final bosses Terra, I was level 30, and then when I played as Aqua, I fought the final boss when I was level 35. When we went on to fight the final boss, I think we were like level 37, so That's what we accomplished with those characters. I definitely enjoyed Aqua the most, probably because she annoyed me the least. Ventus was okay, but again, I felt like my playthrough with him was tarnished slightly. Maybe if I'd started with Terra, and then played through as Ventus after the fact, maybe I would have enjoyed him more. A lot of you guys in the chat told me you didn't enjoy playing as Terra, but I quite did. I did. It might have just been me and my tendency to just click hack and slash when I play these type of games and just mash my way through. I will just acknowledge quickly that Aqua's magic is insane. When you're playing through this game at the beginning, you have the choice. Some of you guys will know that, but some of you who have not played the game yet might not know, so it's worth mentioning. You can play through the game in any order, which is kind of cool. Not a lot of RPGs offer that functionality, and the fact you can play through in any order you want is cool. I thought that the areas you go into in the game were kind of Kingdom Hearts, but on a bare bones level. Luckily, the gameplay is fun enough that you know, for me personally, it wasn't that much of a big deal. If you play through Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, I feel like the worlds that they've built and the areas and the bosses and stuff are all fairly, you know, they're a lot more kind of higher quality than this game. But again, this originated as a PSP game, so bear that in mind. Normally, each area plays out roughly the same. You get to an area of one of the princesses. It's got its own kind of Disney theme. You help out the princess, you do a bit of grinding, you make your way through, you find some items, and then you beat the boss. And then you leave, for the most part. And that was fine. You know, that was absolutely fine for me. I didn't think it was absolutely, you know, game-breaking, but for what it was charming enough. If you play this game, just make sure that you relax when you play it. Don't play it for long periods unless you're an absolute lunatic. I would suggest playing this game with breaks. And make sure that you're strong enough when you're going from area to area. If you feel like you're under-leveled in a certain segment, just take your time. Just grind for a little bit. It's going to make some of the bosses later on a lot more enjoyable. I feel like there's definitely going to be a split in the people and the players who finish this game, because some people are going to come out of the final boss fight just barely scraping through, hating life. Maybe they lose to the final boss a couple of times before they finally beat it, and then they come out the other end and they're sweating. That was me after I defeated Ventus, and at first I was really upset. I was not really having a good time, but again, if you level enough, get stronger, meld the really powerful spells. Luckily I had the chat to help me doing that, but you can probably look up guides if you're so inclined, or if you want to feel like going man mode, you can do that yourself, obviously. But your enjoyment in this game is definitely, at least for me, altered by how powerful you are. I know that's just common RPG sense, but it might change people's opinion. If you feel like you played Birth by Sleep and you weren't really enjoying it, if you ever decide to go back to it, just grind for a little bit, and the game gets a lot more fun, a lot more enjoyable. In terms of revisiting each area when you play through as the different characters, obviously the different characters have different scenes that are unique to themselves, but there is a lot of overlap. So in terms of playing through the stories, I think it's recommended, as we said earlier, you play Terra into Ventus into Aqua, but it doesn't really matter. The scenes repeat fairly often, so you better get used to that. Some scenes are unique, and it's quite nice to see, okay, when we saw Aqua in that scene and she left, we don't know what she went off to do. When you actually play as her, I guess it's kind of nice to see all the jigsaw pieces kind of fitting together. The music is obviously fantastic, standard Kingdom Hearts. I didn't actually see who done the music for this particular installment in the franchise, but as always, it's to be expected. Kingdom Hearts always has great music. I think we got DMCA'd out of our mind for the intro, but again, the opening cinematic and stuff is really beautiful, so if you're into that kind of thing, it'll charm you, I think. But yeah, Birth by Sleep has got a lot of content. It's a decent Kingdom Hearts game. There wasn't a lot of things in it that annoyed me. Again, even on standard mode, the game will challenge you. So if you're not strong enough level or high enough level, you're not strong enough and you haven't made the right spells, it might get a little bit fatiguing for you, but it's really easily to get past that problem, and that is literally just to take a couple of minutes in one of the last areas you've been to, make sure you've got the right Keyblade on, and just get strong. And once you get strong, you feel really good playing this game. And that's generally my conclusion. Out of all the Kingdom Hearts games, do I recommend Birth by Sleep for you guys to play if you haven't already? Yes. Is it amazing? Is it mind-blowingly good? Well, that's debatable. It really comes down to how much you enjoy Kingdom Hearts. Some people will not get through this game because they're bored. That's absolutely fine. I just think in terms of the series as a whole, I enjoyed this one quite a bit, and I feel like it was one of the good ones. Again, all down to the battle system and the spell weaving.